Hello, everybody. Welcome on in. I know it is Tuesday. It is a different time for this one-time special time of Firmly WWE, but we are here. Drew is here. I am here. We have a lot to talk about. We had a jam-packed weekend of WWE, NXT, all sorts of things. A great Raw last night. We got a lot to talk about. So we appreciate you all popping in at this special time of 6 p.m. I know we usually do it earlier in the day, but for today, we are here now. We're going to be the lead-in for you guys into NXT tonight. Yeah. So welcome on in. Appreciate you all changing your schedule for the day to join us here. First and foremost, before we start diving into everything, Drew, how the heck are we doing tonight, my friend?
It's weird to hear you say tonight.
I know. I know. It's weird. It is a little weird. It is a little weird. My camera is like too high.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, again, it feels like all these changes and cancellations lately are because of me. So I apologize to everybody.
We're good. We're good, man.
This is 6 p.m.
Yeah, why not?
6 p.m. is interesting.
Yeah.
Leading in to NXT in 2 hours. And we do have a lot of really, really good WWE to talk about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We got Scott in the chat already saying, good evening, gentlemen. Good evening to you, sir. Thank you for popping in. Yeah, so we're ready. I mean, look, we had over the weekend. I mean, this is where we're going to start. Saturday afternoon, East Coast time for us, Drew. We had Bash in Berlin, a PLE over in Berlin. You guessed it, Berlin, Germany.
Not Berlin, Texas.
No.
If there is one.
5 matches that we're going to dive into here. I feel like that's where we'll start, and then we'll kind of move on over to Monday Night Raw. We got the boss man popping in, Spencer, saying, hey, homies. Welcome in, my friend. I'm going to post on Twitter right now because obviously this is not our normal time. So I'm just going to be like, hey, y'all, because I don't know. You know what I mean? But anyway, while I'm doing this, Bash in Berlin from Berlin, Germany. Thought it was a good show.
Yeah, I agree.
So we'll kind of go through it, talk about what we like, talked about the matches, what we liked, what we didn't like, all that sorts of stuff. Now, I know NXT is tonight, and NXT No Mercy was on Sunday. I watched NXT No Mercy. I thought it was a fabulous show. I actually thought it was better than Bash in Berlin, which the last 2 or 3 times when they've had the double up weekends, that's been the case. NXT, in my opinion, has outperformed the main roster. But both shows were excellent this weekend. If you didn't watch NXT No Mercy, if you don't keep up with it, that's fine. But I would go out of your way to watch it. I thought there were I thought the tag team match between Nathan Frazier and Axiom and Chase U was really, really good. Nathan Frazier and Axiom won their belts back. And then we saw Ridge Holland turn on Chase U and dismantle them. And Andre Chase had to leave in a stretcher. We'll be talking about stretchers a little bit later on Raw as well. What else was on that show? Ethan Page and Joe Hendry in the main event with Trick as the special guest referee. I thought it was a good main event. Ethan Page did win, but I thought it was a good main event. But to me, the moment and the best match on the show, Roxanne Perez and Jada Parker absolutely slapped. They absolutely slapped. It was a tremendous bout, a breakout performance for Jada Parker. I've kind of been bullish on her since she's shown up on NXT. I like her a lot. This was a star-making breakout performance for her. She was excellent in this match. And what more can you say about Roxanne Perez? She's 22 years old, and she's a ring general already. No pun intended to Gunther, but she's a ring general already. She's just as good as it gets, and she's 22. It's really crazy that she's that good at that age. And then we saw afterwards, we saw the long-awaited, long-anticipated debut of Julia. She showed up. She had a face-to-face with Roxanne with the belt. So that is obviously where they're going next there. So I would recommend watching it. We don't really dive into NXT a lot here, so we're not going to. But they had a PLE this weekend too. It was really, really good. So go out of your way to watch it if you haven't.
Yes, the reason why I have not said anything about that show is because I did not watch a second of that show.
Yeah. But I would recommend going out of your way because, like I said, if you had to watch one show over the weekend, the better show, in my opinion, was NXT No Mercy. But both shows were really good. And we are here, Bash in Berlin. It was a 5-match card, Drew. And we opened up.
People are complaining about that, but I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, I think for the B-level pay-per-views, like, look at there's A-tier pay-per-views and there's B, for one of the B-level, like secondary pay-per-views like this, 5 is the perfect window. It's how they used to do NXT takeovers. They've kind of built that model into these type of pay-per-views now. You get your SummerSlam that had 7 or 8 matches there. You get your Mania that's going to have more. It's 2 nights and all that stuff. But like, does Bash in Berlin need to be more than 5 matches? Yeah. Does Bad Blood next month need to be more than
7, 8 matches?
No. And I think it allows you to tell really good stories on your weekly television. And it allows every match to have time to breathe, to tell a story in the match itself. I think it just, how many times had we had these 9, 10, or 11 match cards, and 2 of them are 6 minutes long. I wanted to say 7. Sounded like I said a different word. But like, how many of those matches are 6 to 8 minutes long? And it's like, okay, did that really need that? This could have happened on Raw. And I think another thing, which when they focus on 5, maybe 6 matches max, it allows them to have bigger matches on their weekly television shows. Because not every big match, 100%. And I think that improves the quality of Raw, of SmackDown. It improves the quality of all of it because now they're not waiting for a 10-match card. There's maybe only 5 matches on that card. So guess what? A match that might have been 6th or 7th in the rankings of what's going to make the pay-per-view, now that can be a main event of Raw, and it's a match that everybody's going to get pumped for. I just think it helps out the product as a whole. No question about it. But this event on Saturday opened up with the undisputed WWE title match. It was Kevin Owens challenging his friend Cody Rhodes.
But for how much longer?
Hey, look at the end of the night, I was happy. I was like, all right. For now, we're fine. I've been very open to you, Drew, and on these airwaves that I do not want Kevin Owens to turn on Cody Rhodes. I want them to just remain friends, and that be that. But I thought this was a strong opener for the show. They obviously layered in a couple moments where KO could have flipped the switch and kind of got more aggressive and more ruthless to maybe beat Cody. Cody had the knee. They referenced the knee. The knee was in the match. He was favoring the knee. KO, the old KO, you might argue, would have gone to those lengths and did what he needed to do. You could see him fighting with himself about whether he wanted to go there with Cody. He ended up not going there with Cody. And in the end, it took, I think it was the normal, the 3 crossroads that it normally takes nowadays. But Cody Rhodes retained. He is still the WWE champion. And after the match, we actually saw an embrace, a hug from KO, hugged Cody. And then KO actually helped Cody to the back, who was favoring his knee. So it seems as far as Saturday went, we'll see what happens on Friday on SmackDown this week. But as far as Saturday went, the friendship is intact. KO did not turn. It seemed like after the match, it was still happy days when it comes to Cody and KO.
They did, at first he was like, okay, I see that he's hurt. I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
And he was kind of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And he did attack his knee. He did go for the pop-up powerbomb on the apron, but didn't. And I've heard multiple opinions about this, and I can see it from both sides, where it's like, if you're Kevin Owens and you wanted to silence the doubters, you attack this guy the way that you want to attack a guy in order to win a title. So, like, him not doing the pop-up powerbomb.
Yeah.
Which is the powerbomb in general to the apron. Is like, oh, okay. I mean, starting to prove Grayson Waller right. And then when the match is over and he's hugging Cody and he's got that look on his face.
Yeah. Did you think it was coming? The whole time I was like, don't do it, Kev.
Oh yeah.
Don't do it. I was yelling at my screen. Don't do it. Don't do it. Just hug him. Just hug him.
And then it didn't happen. So like, oh, okay. But it doesn't mean that it won't happen. It just means it didn't happen then.
That is true.
So we could see it happen on Friday. But now, because of something that happened in the main event of the show.
Which we'll yeah.
There's going to be another person returning. Now, we don't know if they're returning on Friday, but they'll be returning soon. So they'll probably play a factor into this. And now last week, when we were talking about this match in our preview, we said it's only what's going to happen in this match is going to dictate what happens in the future. So because Kevin Owens did not turn, at least on Saturday, if he does not turn on Friday as well,
it's time then, Drew. We'll talk about it, but if he doesn't do it on Friday, oh baby.
We know who's going to be turning in that case.
Oh baby. That's what I've been waiting for since then. I told you, I've been saying it for months. I would have had him drop him. I would have had Orton. Cody was on his shoulders at Mania. I would have dropped him right there, right in front of his mother. Right in front of his mother. I would have done it right away. But that's just me. I'm a savage. But that's what I would have. That's what I want.
But that's also, that's a callback to his first title win.
Yeah.
Also. Which would have been that would have been poetic in a sense.
Oh, he's just on the shoulders. If he just fucking pooh, right into the arcade and just stared at his mother. Just left. Oh, anyway, it's happening either way. But anyway, I thought overall, though, it was a really good match. Really good match, as you would expect. It was really good. I mean, I don't think any of us had any doubt that Cody was not going to win. You know what I mean? Like, we all knew he was winning. But I thought they played it pretty well. And again, even though it's something that KO has repeatedly done, it's something that, that helped it. That helped it. Because the whole match that we see him having this inner turmoil, in our brains, we know, this guy's a savage. He's done it a dozen times before. At any moment, he can just be like, no, I don't I'm doing what I have to, you know what I mean? So it's just that intrigue of is he going to do it? Is it really going to, it works with KO because KO, and then
his
I'm glad.
Characters,
I'm glad
Kevin
they leaned
Owens
into it.
is one of my favorite characters.
Oh, I love him. He's my favorite character in all of WWE. Him and Gunther are probably my top two.
And I think we talked about this, I think 2 weeks ago when the Grayson Waller incident happened with him in the back. His character plays on a real human the human emotions
Yeah.
and feelings of
The
people
fan.
who are trying really hard to be good when they
Hmm.
want to be bad.
Yep.
And I mean, you saw it in this match clearly. Really struggling to do any move that he knew would hurt and potentially injure Cody
Yep.
because of the knee. And then he went for the knee, and it was almost like he was upset at himself for going for the knee,
Hmm.
and then didn't do the power bomb, but then upset at himself for not doing the power bomb.
Yep.
It's that play on each thing. It's like the good is happy that they didn't do the bad, and then the bad is happy that they didn't do the good.
Yep.
It was really very well done, very well done.
I agree.
And um again, like I said, I can see where people would be like, "Oh, well, isn't he the prize fighter? Isn't he the one that's trying to prove the doubters wrong? Of course you gotta go and you gotta be ferocious and you've gotta give it your all." Um, so we'll see if that plays into maybe him turning heel on Friday
Hmm.
or what. But I really enjoyed this match.
Yeah, I did too. And then the next match we had was the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship match. Bianca and Belair. What? Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. What the hell did I just say? Bianca and Belair? Okay. Versus the Unholy Union, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. And we did see Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill regain the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships here in this match. For what it was, Drew, I actually thought this match was pretty good too. I thought it was pretty good, and we'll talk about these two teams and what happened on Raw after we get through with Berlin here. But I kind of like what they're doing with these two teams. I kind of like how they're not going away from it and they're continuing it because I think you need. Unholy Union won those belts out of nowhere. Was not expected at all. They did
Yeah.
it. It looks like it doesn't even look like it. They did it for the hometown Scotland Clash at the Castle pop. I thought leading into this match, they gave them some good wins on television and they kind of propped them up a little bit. But I feel like just how we all kind of knew that Cody was winning, I feel like we all kind of knew that Jade and Bianca were getting these belts back. I feel like most of us felt like that was going to happen.
This was a pretty predictable pay-per-view, honestly.
100%. I feel like a lot of the
PLE,
international.
my
I feel
apologies.
like a lot of the international ones are. They rely on the crowd, they rely on the atmosphere, but the matches are just solid, really good matches. But I feel like there's no earth-shattering things that happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
right.
these type of shows. And like I said, we all knew what was going on. It was pretty predictable. But I thought all in all, for a match that I feel like didn't have a ton of juice going into the pay-per-view, I felt like it was a pretty solid match. Like, was it the match of the night? Absolutely not. But I thought it was pretty solid. I think Jade continues to look better and better. She was great in this match. Her hot tag when she gets in there and just ruins people is like legitimate. It's like a
Yeah.
legitimate moment that the crowd is like going nuts for all the time. And I think she continues to grow and get better and better. I think them with the belts, it's a
I'm
good
a
thing.
little sad that Alba Fire and Hazel Dawn ended up being kind of transitional champions
Well,
because
okay. Yeah.
they did win it very,
I don't know. Yeah, literally.
it was out of nowhere. And then also they only had like one title defense
Yeah.
before this, I think.
Yeah.
Um, so I was like, if you're gonna make them win, make it mean something.
Mm.
If
It's
it's
fair.
if it's gonna be a shotgun, hey, all of a sudden they're gonna be the champions. You know,
Yeah,
make it mean something.
I agree. I agree. Um, and again, we'll talk about the Raw stuff, but it feels like they're trying to continue to build these two, which I don't think is a bad thing because I actually think they're there's not a ton. There are, but they don't really. The tag divisions in general are need to be improved on the main roster. I feel like in general, the way they are treated, the way they're booked, the way they're, Finn Balor and JD McDonough have been the men's tag team champions for 64 days now. Do you know how many times they've defended those belts?
Yeah, that's wild.
Why? And this is not Raw. Look at, I am thoroughly enjoying the WWE product. Raw is a hoot every week, most weeks. The PLEs are good.
Me too.
SmackDown is good. I'm digging NXT. I'm digging it all. But what the hell? Because you go down to NXT and you watch No Mercy, and arguably the best match on the show on Sunday was the tag match for the tag titles. 3 weeks ago on NXT television, those same two teams had a banger. I feel like they're just, you gotta have, why would you take the belts off DIY? Like what? I just don't, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird to me. I just don't know why there's no focus.
There's a particular, when it comes to former Triple H vanity projects, it seems like there's a very strange back and forth when it comes to booking properly and booking not properly. I don't really understand it.
It's very weird. I mean, Dustin's asking in the chat, well, we saw last night on Raw, and we'll talk about it, but we saw last night on Raw, there was a number one contendership tag team match to determine the number one contenders for Jade and Bianca. And that match was actually won by Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. So it looks like we're getting a rematch first. As far as if like you're asking like who will be the next team to challenge them once they get finished with Isla Dawn and Alba Fire. I mean, I think the Pure Fusion collection could be up there. They gotta. I think if they prop them up, they could be. They could be a team that they could, because they've been on SmackDown primarily, but those belts float, so they can go on Raw. They can go to NXT if they want. There's a lot better women's tag teams down there than there in the main roster.
Also, Naomi is, and she's on SmackDown, but now that Jade and Bianca are the tag champions, they can go to SmackDown again.
Yep.
And were they permanently
on SmackDown, so they were chilling there. But now that they're champions, they can kind of float. They can be on Raw like they were last night.
Maybe because nobody cares about the brand split anymore. Well, I mean, look, Randy Orton was on Raw for a month just because he was going for the Intercontinental Championship. So, maybe if they're doing some trio stuff between the Pure Fusion Collective and the tag champions, Naomi can get involved and they can do some matches on Raw.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be nice.
But they haven't been like, they're not established as like a trio, but they've done like 2 or 3 TV matches with the 3 of them. So they kind of are a trio. So I don't know if that would, I mean, again, they write the rules and rewrite the rules 1,000 times over, but would her being part of that trio mean that now they could go over to Raw and have some trios matches?
Mm-hmm.
Possibly. So that would be fun.
Yeah.
But it seems like Pure Fusion Collective might be heading elsewhere, judging on what happened last night. But when we get there, we'll talk about that.
Yeah. 100%.
So yeah, the match was fine. It's not like something I was hardcore paying attention to. But obviously, I think everybody agrees right women won.
Mm-hmm.
And as for who challenges them next, like we just said, it's gonna be the former champions.
Yeah, we're running it back. We're running it back first, so that's at least gonna happen. I don't know if they push it to Bad Blood or it happens on a SmackDown soon. I don't know, but we're at least seeing that. But yeah, we'll go from there. We'll kind of see what happens. So next we had Drew it was time for the strap match. CM Punk, Drew McIntyre. I dug this match, man. I liked it. It was for me. The only thing I didn't like about it, which we're not going to talk about what happened on Raw until we get to Raw, because God bless everyone. But I thought, for as annoyed as I am about this friggin' bracelet, I actually thought that CM Punk doing all the GTSs and grabbing the bracelet and hitting one last GTS and like hitting the corner with the I felt like that was like, okay, I'm all right with that. I'm all right with that. And then I was like, okay, now bring that bracelet home and fucking leave it there. Just leave it there. But we saw something even better happen last night, which we'll talk about later. But all in all, this is what I expected it to be. Strap matches are tough, Drew, because in my opinion, there's either really, really good strap matches or they're just dreadful. They're just dreadful. I felt like this one was not the best one I've ever seen, but I felt like it was more towards the really good than the dreadful, because these two guys beat the shit out of each other. And that's exactly what should happen in a strap match. You beat the crap out of each other. And it felt like, to me, this was the fight, because it started before the bell even rang. Like, CM Punk was still doing his entrance, and Drew just attacks him right out the blue. This, to me, felt like the fight and the animosity that should have happened at SummerSlam during the first match. This is what that felt like, because they had this big, long build where these two guys hated each other. And then their first match at SummerSlam is like their collar and elbow tie, and they're having a wrestling match. And it's like, okay, this one felt like, okay, this is the two of you beating the shit out of each other, which is what you should have been doing the second you were allowed to touch each other. So that's what I liked. Again, strap matches are very hit or miss. I thought this one was more on the hit than a miss for me. And then we'll talk about it when we talk about Raw, but I thought last night, because when we talked about it last week, I felt like this was the biggest feud in the company till SummerSlam. And then from SummerSlam to Saturday, I felt like it was just losing steam. But I felt like this match and then what happened on Raw last night, I feel like we're doing this again. That's how I feel when it comes to this.
That I agree with. I do agree. What happened last night did this for sure. However, okay, listen, I am a more modern wrestling fan than.
That's fair. This is a very old school type of beat the fuck out of each other match. This is the wrestling that I like, is just violent. We're beating the crap out of each other. We're not doing rest hold. We're just whipping each other and beating each other up. That's my type of,
Before the match.
Yeah.
Drew's just wailing on him with the strap. Just boom, boom, boom. I'm like, oh, this is good stuff. I'm liking this.
Mm-hmm.
Then the bell rings. And just like how the SummerSlam to Saturday builds went like this, the match kind of went like this for me too. I do not care for stipulations, matches, wrestling rules that make people look stupid. It takes me out of it. Just being honest. It kind of takes me out of it a little bit. So, and I was tweeting my displeasure, like the good mark that I am, Triple H. I was tweeting my displeasure as that match was going on. When you have I'm going to give you my baseline.
Yeah.
When it comes to matches, so say the Royal Rumble, for example, when a wrestler, when the rule that everyone knows is that in a Royal Rumble match, when you get in that ring, the only way you're out of that match is if you go over the rope onto the floor. Why the hell is anybody going over the rope at all? It makes why are you doing a top rope move? Why are you going through the ropes up to the top? Why are you getting on a turnbuckle? Why are you doing literally anything
Yeah.
that would make it easier for somebody to get you over that rope and on the floor? Makes no sense at all. I hate when referees are paying attention to matches and all of a sudden something takes them out of it for 30 seconds and then somebody's getting beat down and it's so loud. The stomping, the move that they hit on the person, and there's no reaction from the referee at all. They're still, they're handing something off to somebody. They're telling somebody that they have to get off the apron. They're telling somebody that they have to get up the ramp. And they're refereeing a match. And there's a whole bunch of stuff going on back here. And they're not paying attention. Takes me out of it. I hate that. So they start this match. And they get to a point, Drew's starting to slap the top turnbuckles. He slaps one, slaps another. CM Punk does a move, it turns the lights off.
Yeah, you have to do it in one succession. You can't
which makes that I'm fine with.
To answer, hello, Ophelia. To answer your question, not normally, but I believe they did the lights for Eddie Guerrero and JBL back in the day when they had their strap match, I think. So it's not a regular thing, but it's not the first time they've done the lights. But I felt that way at first too.
Didn't John Cena and Rusev do a strap match?
Yeah, but I don't think they had the lights.
Were involved.
Well, did they have the lights then?
I remember a Four Corners thing.
Yeah, I don't know if they had the lights. I know Guerrero and JBL had the lights. I remember that. But it's not something that's involved in all the strap matches. I just think it's kind of a hit or miss. But continue with your...
So CM Punk does a move, turns the lights off, whatever. Yeah. Now, Punk gets lifted up over the rope through the table on the floor.
Yes.
There are 2 turnbuckles right there. Drew's walking over to the other side of the ring. Why is he walking over to the other side of the ring? It makes no sense. They did not establish that was the first one that you had to touch, because that was not the first one that they touched every time.
Oh, no. It just doesn't matter which one you touch first.
So why is he walking all the way to the other side of the ring? Why aren't you slapping the turnbuckle that's literally right there? That makes no sense to me at all.
Fair.
Then, listen, the babyface fire coming back from a big move stuff. Oh, yeah. I get that. That's a classic wrestling thing. I get that. I don't have a problem with doing that, but I have a problem with people who do it in such a stupid way, like it was done in this match, where both men, and it wasn't even just Punk, it was Drew also, where it's like a ladder match too. Like that's another match where it's like somebody's got to climb up a ladder.
Nine to get years a thing. To go up the ladder,
and it's like, 10 seconds later, 10 seconds later, it's like, get up the fucking ladder and get the thing. So in this match, they're struggling. They're struggling to get to a corner to slap the top turnbuckle. But why is it so hard for Drew? Why is it so hard when he had the strength to do a kip up, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I gotta slowly plod over to slap a turnbuckle.
Just how wrestling works, Drew. You gotta expand your sense of belief.
The one that killed me was, and while it did fit for the end of the match.
Oh, when Punk stopped and gave the last GTS?
Was Punk, it wasn't when he stopped, because that was like the symbolic, like, I'm going to
because he gave the GTS for every corner, which I was like, I like that. I thought that was good. He literally gave him a GTS before he hit every corner. I was like, hell yeah, dude.
The problem with a match like this, or really anything that's not just like a standard no DQ for me, is if you're in a blood feud with somebody, that shit doesn't matter.
But I
I
think
don't.
it does, though. I think
Well, it matters to win
mattered
the
to Punk
match.
because he wanted to win the match, but he also wanted to, obviously not, but he wanted to kill Drew McIntyre. So that's why he was doing the GTSs, because he was like, nah, fuck this guy. He's made my
He
life
can
a
do
living
the G.
hell.
I'm not. I don't have a problem
know?
with him doing the GTSs.
Yeah.
It's not with him doing the GTSs. It's him doing a GTS, slowly walking to a turnbuckle. Boom.
It takes a lot of energy.
Doing the GTS, slowly walking to the
Do you know how
turnbuckle.
big Drew McIntyre is as a human? Think about lifting him up 4 separate times. You're going to be tired. He just fought for 30 minutes.
The goal for me,
Getting your
if
ass
I was
kicked.
CM Punk, the goal for me is 1, 2, 3, 4. Do all the fucking GTSs I want. That's not.
But but that's different though, because in a wrestler's mind, like sometimes, especially in a blood feud, hurting the person is more important than winning. Like Punk wanted both, and he got both this time. But the SummerSlam match, he lost mainly because of the Seth Rollins thing, but because he was trying to hurt Drew more than he should have, So it's like, I don't know. I thought another thing in this match that I like when Punk was on Drew's shoulders and Drew was hitting the buckle and Punk was hitting the buckle right after him, but without Drew knowing.
That a lot.
That was very clever. That was a very clever thing that they did. And then they were both reaching for and then it just ended up that but I thought that was a very clever sequence.
That was the most clever thing of the whole match.
Like, because the crowd is like, oh shit, Punk's going to sneak one. And like Drew has no idea, because he just thinks he's just carrying a lifeless guy, and Punk's like, and he's just like hitting the corners. I thought that was a really good sequence too. They did have that table spot with Punk too, which looked pretty cool, pretty gnarly, and stuff like that. Again, I am an old school wrestling guy. Strap matches are not my favorite, but I thought as far as strap matches go, I thought this one was a pretty good one. I thought it was all right. I
didn't like it.
And
you know what? It's not that it was fine, but like my first tweet about it was, all right, this is fine, but this could have just been a standard no DQ match.
Maybe
they didn't need to have the, like, while it wasn't good to have Drew just whipping him like a dog for the first like 3-4 minutes before the bell even rang. That could have also been chair shots in a no DQ match. It could have been, literally anything. It could have been a kendo stick. It could have been whatever. So it's like, all right, obviously he's using what he's got because that's what the match is. But the turnbuckle slapping thing is just like, that does absolutely nothing for me. So
that's how you win.
I just wanted to see them beat the fuck out of each other. That's really all I cared about.
But they did.
They did. But then it was also like, oh, I gotta slowly crawl over to this thing.
That's just, to me, like when I view stuff like that, for me, that's just wrestling. That's just how wrestling is. Say you mentioned the ladder, like I look at it and I see the people slowly climbing up the ladder, and I'm like, but like in my brain, I'm like, yeah, that's just
slowly climbing up the ladder after 30 minutes of being in a match to do that. That's a different story.
But that's what was happening here. They wrestled for 30 minutes. Punk
but they hit Punk.
He went through all this
fucking GTS and then was crawling like he didn't have no strength
because he was getting his ass kicked. Like he was in the process of finally, you know what I mean? That's my thought
weird to me, because why are you on your hands and knees crawling when you're doing GTSs? It just doesn't make sense.
Because it took everything in your might to do it. He's 6'8", 280, man. CM Punk's not that big. Not a big fella. I think he's more jacked than ever, though, CM Punk. I'm going to be honest with you. He looks more jacked than ever.
That is true.
Doesn't he? Yeah. He looks ripped. Anyway, I'll tell you what, though. This mixed tag match
very
good.
Very
ruled. Oh, loved it. My match of the night. Judgment Day, Dom and Liv against the Terra Twins, Damian and Rhea. Man, this was good. This was good. A lot of fun, back and forth. You had the moments of Rhea finally getting her hands on Dom and messing him up a little bit. Obviously, you had the chicanery and the influence in the, the new Judgment Day coming down, getting involved and all stuff like that. This match was very good. Very good, Drew. I thought it was exciting, back and forth. It had me and it had most of the people in that arena on the edge of our seat most of the time. It was just a lot of fun. It was just a lot of fun. Good spots, really, really good. Yeah. And then the match ends with Rhea Ripley giving Liv Morgan the Riptide for the 1, 2, 3. But all in all, I thought this was the best match of the night, Drew. I thought this was the best match of the night. This match was a time. It was a fun time.
Yeah, it was. I hated Dominic Mysterio. Didn't care about him at all.
Wait, are you saying like in this match? Or are you talking about in general?
No, I'm just in general.
Dom deserves his flowers. Dom deserves his flowers.
Yeah, he really does. He incredibly improved. Incredibly. And the way, like when we talk about Raw, just the way that
I wanted him to win. I'm ready for a Dom IC title reign. Give Dom a title.
I really thought he was.
What are we waiting for? Anyway.
But yeah, like the way that he really soaks up the hate from the booing from the crowd, and he is a child still, kind of. Well, no, not really. He's like 24 or something, I think.
He's older than that. I think he's older than that. But either way.
Is he really?
I think he's like,
because he looks like an 18-year-old.
I think he's like 27, maybe 26, 27.
If he is older than 24, I'm gonna cry.
I'm pretty sure he is. I think he was 24 when he debuted. I want to say he's 27 or 28. That would be my guess. Feel like.
Wow. You're 100% right. 27?
Yeah. Right.
Did not think that at all, because he looks like a 17-year-old. So
it works.
Just like when he's like screaming at the crowd and his voice cracks.
Yeah. I also love how he's
like,
incorporated. I love how he's incorporated yelling in Spanish at the crowd as well. Yes. I very much am into that. I like it. I think it adds a different flavor to his character. I feel you. I mean, yeah. To some of us, it is still a baby. It's still a. I would kill to go back to 27, Drew. That'd be a time.
Yeah, me too.
I had
even
though
it was only 6 years ago.
Yeah, not for me. Not for me. I had a good time at 27. Same age as Rhea. There you go. They're both 27. So yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I think Rhea's
Huh.
That makes sense. Yeah, because Rhea started real young. Rhea's been around for 6 or 7 years at this point. Like not on the main roster the whole time, but she's been in WWE since,
So anyway, so I very much enjoyed this, and did not expect the Terror Twins to win. I actually thought Liv and Dominic were going to win, so that was a surprise for me. And so it was Judgment Day and Terror Twin heavy on Raw. So we'll talk about that when we get there.
We're going to talk about, but yeah, this match was a hell of a lot of fun. It was really, really good. And like you said, it carried over to Raw, and I thought the segments with these groups here on Raw were, man, they were good. They were good. All right, we then had the main event, Bash in Berlin. It was the rematch. It was Randy Orton challenging the World Heavyweight Champion Gunther in his home territory. This match was also, yeah, well, I like how they, because they've been doing this thing where they've been like, oh, yeah, he's from there. And it's like, well, technically he's from Austria, which is not Germany. They're not the same. But I thought Michael Cole did a really good job of being like, no, he was born in Austria, which is right on the other side of the border, but he really cut his teeth in wrestling in Germany. And this was kind of his home territory. I thought they did a really good job of like separating that a little bit. Drew, this was another match that was made for me. No, again, I'm not saying I dislike high flying and fast paced stuff. I like that stuff too. But this was slow, no giant big moves, just two really good professional wrestlers having a really, really good professional wrestling match. I liked it. I thought it was really good. They used the announce desk. They used the stairs. It was really good, man. It was really, really good.
This was like just felt like a classic old school babyface heel.
100%. 100%. It was just mano a mano, you versus me, no bullshit.
No interferences.
Exactly.
No chicanery. No, it was, and he didn't even, Gunther didn't even try to cheat to win.
Nope. Yeah, and Ophelia saying that Gunther did almost his whole promo in German the day prior to the PLE. Yeah, he even said something. Gunther wins, he retains with the sleeper hold, choked out Randy Orton.
Yeah,
just choked him out. Man, it was really good. It was really good, and I thought it was, Gunther is, for the most part, they got, and Scott saying it, they got 35 minutes. This match was 35 minutes long.
And it was very enjoyable.
Oh, damn right it was. It was so good. Gunther, I know it's part of his tagline that he's a living legend. He is. That guy is once in a lifetime. Like, so isn't Randy Orton. But we've been watching Randy Orton for 20 years. Gunther is still relatively new to a lot of people that maybe only watch WWE. This guy, Gunther.
He's new to me, too.
He once in a lifetime type guy. Like, he is so good at
the main event. The main event of the first wrestling show that I ever went to was Progress NYC 1 in 2017. Main event was Matt Riddle versus Walter. For the Progress Atlas Championship.
Yeah, that probably was incredible.
When I tell you, seeing it on TV for a few years is one thing, but hearing the chop in the building,
nothing like it.
Sounding like actual gunshots.
Yeah, like a gunshot. It literally sounds like a gunshot.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And his are just
the best ever.
Excruciating.
I think the best ever. Honestly.
And never would I have expected, because he wasn't in WWE at the time.
No.
So,
and if you even look at the transformation of him as visually.
And stunning.
Yeah, because he's always been a big guy, but he was like a heavy set guy. He was chubby. He was not ripped. He was just a big dude that could go. And then he got to NXT UK, and when he debuted, he was still that bigger guy. For a lot of the time, he was the NXT UK champion forever. He was still that bigger dude. And I saw an interview with him where he said that he felt like he owed it to himself, that when they were starting to talk about him going to America to start in NXT and then move up to the main roster, he said that he felt like he owed it to himself to be in the best shape that he could be in, not only for him, but for what we're seeing.
I need to take that advice.
Yeah. And dude, that unbelievable. Dustin says, do you see Gunther? Again, I don't want to jump, Dustin. To answer your question, yes, I feel like he is going to hold it for a long time, because that's just kind of what I feel like we should be accustomed to when it comes to Gunther. I mean, in general, really, Triple H likes his long title reigns, especially with the world titles, it feels like. But we'll talk about it on Raw, but I wouldn't be opposed to him losing that match that we're going to see.
Really?
I would not be opposed to it. He win it back, obviously. I don't think it's going to happen, but I wouldn't be opposed. But afterwards, Gunther's a heel. He's a big-time heel. Calling Damian Priest street trash, talking shit about Randy Orton's family, all this stuff. But after the match, and obviously this was probably because it was in the hometown and he's kind of the babyface hero there. I don't think it happens if this is in Boston, Massachusetts. But Gunther puts out his hand and he shakes Randy Orton's hand, and they have like a little sign of respect there. I thought that was good. I like that. I like that a lot. Very out of character for Gunther because he is that asshole heel sometimes, but I thought that was really a good thing. And then Gunther cut us.
He was a prick to Randy Orton in this feud.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. But he was a hero on Saturday, you know. So I understand why they did that, but I like that kind of stuff. I thought that was really good. And then
really loved actual real life German Ludwig Kaiser.
And I was going to say, yeah, he at the beginning
him.
Yes, that was very good. That was very good.
God.
And shout out to Ophelia. Shout out to Ophelia in the chat because she guessed that, or she said that she wanted Ludwig to be LA Knight's answer to the Open Challenge, and he was on Friday. So she called that one. She predicted that one. So shout out to her. But yeah,
just really, really, really great at that announcing.
Oh yeah,
like he's got the demeanor for it. He's got the presence for it.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Drew. I'm digging Kaiser in general.
Me
that
too.
Guy can go in the ring. I kind of wanted him to win that triple threat.
I mean, I've been digging him for a while, if you know.
Well,
but
he's a handsome fellow.
He's a beautiful man. Yeah, he's got presence. He's got charisma. He's got
he can go. He can cut a promo. He's a good wrestler.
Yeah,
he's got everything you need. Everything you need. And I thought he had a couple good tweets, but he had a good tweet that he put out on Saturday, either before or right after Gunther won, where it said like since day one. And it was like 4 different pictures, and it showed them at all different ages of their lives and their careers. And it was just the 2 of them in photos. So it's pretty cool how like they grew up together in independent wrestling in Germany and Europe. And they're literally like a duo together when he's the world champion and he's it's really like, this is amazing. You know, it's a really cool story. But again, I thought Bash in Berlin was another good show. I thought it was another good show. Just great matches. The German crowd was hot, as all the international crowds are. They were really good. Germany showed up as we expected, the chants and all the stuff that was going on. I thought all in all, it was another very, very, I did see that Undertaker on his podcast did say that he loved Ludwig, and he's like, that guy's a guy too. He was talking about Gunther, and he said, I also like Ludwig. Like, that guy's got it all too. That guy's got it all too. So, I thought it was another good show, Drew. I thought it was another good PLE for WWE. And now we're ramping up in the beginning of October in Atlanta. We got Bad Blood coming. And as we saw on Raw last night, I think we're getting some ideas of maybe a few matches that we're going to be seeing coming up in Bad Blood in like a month or so. But all in all, out of 10, Drew, what would you have given Bash in Berlin?
8.
Yeah, I'm there. I'm a 7.5 to an 8. That's where I'm at. I thought NXT was an 8.5 to a 9. If we're talking No Mercy, but I would give it. I agree with you. I would give it a solid 8. I think 7.5 might be a little low, but I would give it a solid 8. I thought every match. I know you weren't the biggest fan of the strap match, but I thought every match was good. They told good stories. The results were predictable, but in wrestling, predictability is not always the worst thing. So,
right.
And I thought the follow-up that we're going to dive into now, I thought the follow-up we saw on Raw, I thought last night's Raw was a good one. I thought it was a good one. We were in Denver, Colorado. So Denver, Colorado got back-to-back shows, Drew, because the NXT No Mercy show was in Denver, Colorado. And then Raw, the very next night, was in Denver, Colorado. And a rare Raw where Samantha Irvin had the night off. She was not the ring announcer last night on Raw. They had Alicia Taylor, who did NXT, filling in for her on Raw. Before we dive into Raw, about what happened in the ring, Joe Tessitore.
I was just going to mention him, yes.
He did well. I very much, and he's only going to get better and more confident as he goes. He was interviewed after, and I know he publicly said, I wasn't at my best tonight, or I wasn't great tonight. I know he was kind of saying that about himself. But I'm telling you what, I thought for a first night, I thought him and Wade Barrett did really well. I thought they did pretty good.
You know, I liked their dynamic together.
Yeah.
I think they actually play off of each other very well.
Yeah.
Now
You can tell he's a
Joe,
you can tell he's a
I'm
wrestling fan too. You can tell.
that I like.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Jimmy Smith seemed. I don't know if he was a wrestling fan, but
Yeah.
like he was like okay, and then the guy before him sounded awful.
Yeah. Was it
He was only there for,
Adnan Verk or something like that?
yeah,
They tried
he was
that guy
only there
for a
for
few
like
weeks.
2-3 months.
I was gonna say, was it even that long? I felt like it was a couple weeks, and they were like, "No, dude, it's not working." But I don't even know. You're probably right. You're probably right.
But yeah, I don't know Joseph Tessitore because I'm not a sports guy. So
Yeah. I mean, longtime NFL. He's ESPN, but longtime NFL, college football. Dustin, that's a good call out. That's a good call out. That's a good
his
call
voice actually does kind of sound like Mars.
His voice sounds like his voice.
Very unique voice.
Yes, but it sounds like the sound of his voice fit in. Like I thought he sounded like a wrestling commentator.
There were moments for sure where it was like, okay, but I mean, it was only his first night. It's
exactly.
I'm not gonna be like, oh, he didn't do this right and he didn't do this.
And
right.
like the more comfortable he gets, he's going to get more confident, and he's just going to get better and better as he goes. And I thought for night one, I thought he did pretty damn well. I liked him.
They gave, I think,
a good intro.
honestly, Wade a very, very good rapport there.
Yeah.
To show you, like, this guy is, he's been doing commentary for us for a while, but we're pairing him up with this brand new, very popular sports announcer. That says something.
I thought Wade Barrett. I thought Wade shined. I thought because Joe Tessitore eventually, I think, is going to be that play-by-play guy that talks the majority of the time, like Michael Cole, like JR, like we're used to. But it was clear last night from the jump that Wade was guiding him along. Wade was the catalyst, and he did incredible. He did really good. And I thought for night one, dude, I thought Tessitore did very well. I know he was hard on himself, but I feel like we are always our own worst critics. But I thought he did for night one. I thought he knocked it out of the park. And I liked what they did at the beginning of Raw, how they kind of introduced him. They had Wade Barrett.
Yeah, that was very unique.
Yeah, I liked it. They had Wade Barrett in the ring, and then he like gave him a proper introduction to the TV screen and to the crowd. Like, here he is. Like, here's our new guy here. And then they kind of kicked it to that, package about what happened at Bash in Berlin. I thought it was just really well done.
When Raw goes to Netflix, what happens then?
I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be. Yeah, because Pat McAfee's going to come back, right? So does McAfee get like? Are they going to have a 3-man booth at one point? Are they going to move or is it going to be? I originally thought that they were going to do it with Corey because Corey has more experience. I felt like that would be the way to go. But Lawrence, I was streaming during Raw, like kind of watching it, and Lawrence was like, "Nah, he's with Wade." I was like, "Wow." I was like, "Because Wade's newer at this too. He hasn't been doing it for forever. Him and Corey have only been together on SmackDown. I know he did NXT for he's somewhat, he's been doing it for a year or so, maybe. But it was good stuff.
I like Corey Graves. I do not like him on commentary.
I think when
he does it a little, he overplays the heel thing a little too much for me.
I think that's a fair assessment. I think when Corey is just straight laced and good to go, he's very good. He's very good at what he does, but he does lean into the heel character a lot. But I wonder what they do because Michael Cole and Pat McAfee have become kind of the it commentary pairing for WWE. So when Pat McAfee comes back in January, he said he's going to be on Raw. Is it going to be Joe Tessitore and Pat McAfee? And then
I don't see a world
Wade,
where Pat McAfee and Michael Cole are on different shows.
That's what I'm saying. So I wonder how they do it. Or maybe they just give Tessitore Raw until the next Netflix deal, and then he stays on USA on Smack. I don't know. But I was impressed. I was impressed with Joe Tessitore and what we heard from him last night. I thought he did really well. For night one, never doing it before, I thought he did pretty good.
I had another news story that we can get into.
Yeah, we got to talk about this. Okay.
I don't know if we can do it now before we get into Raw.
We probably should, right? We probably should. Just get it out of the way. Although Kofi was on Raw. Should we wait? I don't know. Kofi had a little backstage thing on Raw that made my mouth water. I'll be honest with you. When they teased him and Gunther. for the title, and I was like,
Oh, yes.
I was like, I'll be in on that, bro. Okay, not a point of contention, but we have talked a lot. We have spent a lot of time, Drew, over the last 3 weeks to a month talking about this New Day potential breaking up. And guess what? Now we do not have to worry. This is a very look. This is not a lighthearted situation. At this point, it is still I'm not gonna say rumor, but it is still like. But we woke up today, and Odyssey Jones, who had been on Raw dealing with the New Day, everyone was thinking, "Oh shit, the New Day is going to break up." This is kind of what they've been doing. He was removed completely from the WWE roster page, and so you had Meltzer releasing
not just the one on WWE.com.
No,
the internal one is
gone. Like, see you later,
which means something.
Yeah. So that was a little bit of confusion. Nobody knew what was going on this morning. As the day went on, SRS, Sean Ross Sapp, our buddy over at Fightful, he posted on Twitter that he was let go due to domestic violence allegations. Not going to get into that. Obviously, that is not good. And again, at this point, they are just allegations. We do not know. I don't know any other information. I'm not getting into that game. I don't care. But because of these allegations, he was immediately let go. Immediate, which again, it's all hearsay at this point. It's all speculation. But that would make me think that WWE probably looked into it, and it might not be good. It might not be good that they were willing, because this guy was on our TV screens being a part of pretty. If the New Day was breaking up, dude, he was a part of a pretty big angle here that they were potentially leaning towards, where the New Day would be breaking up, and he was the centerpiece of it. And now he's gone because, he seems to be like he might not be the greatest individual.
And again, it doesn't seem that this was. It's a hard subject to talk about.
Yeah, and that's why I'm like, I'm gonna,
It wasn't reported that it's 100% true.
Yeah.
But for WWE to take the matters into their hand the way that they did, it's like, and it's a shame for Kofi and Xavier, because wherever this was going, it was hot and it was getting talked about.
People cared about it. Yeah,
we spent probably I think this is our fifth Firmly WWE. We probably spent like
more time talking about that than any other topic since this show.
If it wasn't Punk and Drew, it was this.
No, without question, we talked more about the potential New Day breakup more than Punk and more than anything. We were like, we were just talking about it every week, and now obviously, I mean, they could still figure it out and go down that route, maybe, I don't know, but now it's like, that was the news of the day.
There's a Twitter now. Again, it's Twitter, so you don't know what is what really. But there was I saw when I was looking it up earlier, I saw that there was a Twitter account called The Truth About Odyssey Jones that was tweeting a little over a month ago about him being a domestic abuser and stuff, and is it true? We'll find out for real. I mean, it's seeming like because of the way that this went down, you don't get fired for no reason.
Correct.
So,
correct.
And this account was like talking about being hit on a vacation, and the person said, calling him a woman beater, and it's there's no place for that, and definitely he should be gone. So they made the right call there.
Yeah. So we'll have to kind of see, at least from like a TV show standpoint, we'll have to see kind of how
Dominic
what they do.
Mysterio.
Oh my God,
is in the
Dominic
chat.
Mysterio's in the chat.
My goodness.
Dom, we were just praising you, bro.
I hope you heard.
I hope you heard.
Said
I said that you deserve your flowers.
I hated you in the beginning, but you deserve your
Unbelievable.
flowers now, and you've come a long way, and I'm really proud of where you are right
Yeah,
now.
literally.
So,
Like, I wanted you to win that triple threat last night, bro. Anyway, all right. So Raw starts with that little intro that we had there, you know, with what happened at Bash in Berlin, and then we see Dom, we see Mommy, Rhea Ripley open the show.
Dom, if you feel triggered by this, you can leave.
It's okay. Come back though. Appreciate you. Rhea Ripley makes her entrance. She gets on the mic. She welcomes everybody to Monday Night Raw. She does that thing. And then she says it feels good to say that again, but it feels better. What felt better is her and Damian Priest brutalizing Liv and Dom on Saturday. And she said they're just getting started because she's the one that pinned the WWE Women's World Champion at Backlash, at Bash in Berlin. And if Liv is as tough as she pretends to be, and it looks like she's about to say, I want a rematch, and then our buddy in the chat, Mr. Dominic Mysterio, makes his presence felt. Nasty looking black eye, though. Oh,
ooh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I didn't see the part in the match on Saturday where he must have got caught, but gnarly looking black eye. If
Dom,
you want to let us know, Dom, how'd you get that?
Yeah, how'd you get that? How you doing?
Brutal.
Hopefully everything was
brutal. Oh, you're with Liv right now, bro.
Tell her we said hello.
You can tell her I said hello. How are we doing? Unbelievable. So Dom starts talking. They obviously getting drowned out by the booze. He starts yelling in Spanish.
So like what we talked about before.
Yeah.
Really love that Dominic has incorporated yelling in Spanish.
Oh, I love it.
And it's so funny too. Sorry if this is gonna hurt your feelings, Dom, but I just have to say, it's so funny when he's screaming at the crowd and his voice starts cracking because it's like, I can't take you seriously at all, pal.
It's incredible.
You're not in any way, shape, or form am I afraid. But it's so funny. I really enjoy this a lot.
Oh yeah. And so he gets in the ring. He says that Liv's not here for multiple reasons, but she'll accept Rhea's challenge because she's beat her before and she'll beat her again. So Dom accepts the match for Liv. And then he says, and then after I win my match tonight and I'm the IC champion, we're both going to have gold, blah, blah, blah. So then Rhea says, let me put this in a way that you'll understand. And she called him stupid in Spanish. She starts speaking Spanish, calls him stupid. And then she basically is saying, well, if Liv doesn't want to come out and play, I got a message for her. I'll fight her anytime, any place. Then Liv comes out of nowhere.
But Rhea saw her.
Rhea saw her, swats her aside, gives her a nice little elbow, gets her out of there. What? You're not Dominic Mysterio. You just outed yourself. I'm not giving you.
Well, I mean, I knew from the beginning.
I believed it. Rip. What? You didn't? I believed it. So then Rhea starts going after Dom. So she hits Liv with an elbow. She starts going after Dom, and Rhea gets hung up in the rope by her foot. So her leg is just hanging from that rope. And Liv Morgan just starts kicking her knee and working on her knee repeatedly as she's hanging up there.
It seems like that spot was planned, but at first I was like, oh no, because that happened with Priest
when he was trying to do a move. Ago. Yeah, he got caught, and that looked like he could have really hurt himself. Luckily, he was okay.
Yeah, so I was like, oh no, but then they started kicking her leg while I was like, no.
Yeah,
but so she's okay, thankfully. But
and then Liv, it looks like she's about to give Rhea a kiss on the cheek, and we hear Damian Priest music. Damian Priest comes down, makes the save. They run off. And then
Priest ran off a couple of people on this show.
Sure did. So that happens. Dom and Liv scoot. They scatter. Priest kind of helps Rhea get out of the rope. And then we see a little bit later on in the back that she's trying to get, the doctors are trying to help Rhea, and she's pissed and screaming, and Priest has to come over and be like, hey, I know you're upset. I know you're pissed off. I'm pissed off too, but like they need to help you. Like you need to let them help you. Like you need to be cool. You need to be cool. And so Rhea calms down. She gets in a brace. We see her later. She's in a brace. She's on a crutch and stuff like that. But we'll get there when we get there. We then
Dominic is saying that it's really him. So,
well, you never know. If it is, God bless. But if it isn't,
what did Gussie live with the CM Punk mean? If that's really him,
I don't think the first word was an accent.
Did
he mean? I don't. Would long live the CM Punk? What is? I don't know. So we see a recap of last week's match between Uncle Howdy. What the fuck is wrong with me tonight? Uncle Howdy. What the hell am I doing? Having a stroke? Jesus Christ. God. Man, Drew, I can't even speak.
Hardys are in TNA.
But we see the recap between Uncle Howdy and Chad Gable from last week. It then goes right into Chad Gable with the Creeds and Ivy Nile in the back.
This was awesome.
Yeah, liked it a lot. He's mad about it.
Him getting so upset and really riling them up and slapping Julius. Just
that was
really, really good
when
stuff.
He slapped the shit out of Julius. But yeah, he's yelling at them. We're not going to be put in this position again. He calls the Creeds and Ivy Niles the best athletes that have ever walked through WWE. And he's like, we're going to go out and show it. And like you said, he slapped the shit out of Julius Creed before he walked out
reacted to it.
Oh, yeah. And then listen, you know who I'm going to put over again, Drew? We had a 6-person tag. It was Akira Tozawa, Otis, and Maxine Dupree.
I know who you're going to put over.
Made, the Creeds and Ivy Nile. This match was awesome. Brother, Maxine Dupree looked awesome again. She looked awesome in this match. That is 2 matches in a row where she has looked legitimately like, man, that's pretty good right there. She looks pretty good right there. The crowd is behind her. She ripped the shit off. She ripped her shirt like old.
Yeah, like
I don't want to say his name, but like Otis style. And the crowd popped. Super big pop for that. Otis is over as can be. Tozawa's over. I know we've talked about it before on here, Drew, but good on those 3. Good on those 3 for getting that over and staying that over. And, they could have easily been one of those WWE things where Gable leaves and they're just forgotten about. Like they're just doing nothing. But these 3 they are over, dude. The crowd gives a shit about these 3.
There is so much goodwill with the WWE audience right now that you can, as Triple H has been doing for the last few months, play around with characters to see if something like a genuine organic crowd reaction happens. We saw it with Bronson Reed and the Tsunami. We're seeing it now with Maxine Dupree. Like 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, I didn't care about her at all.
Yep.
And when she came out a couple weeks ago, when her and Ivy were supposed to have their singles match, and just wailed on her and I was like, whoa.
Yep.
Oh, okay. And that was like, I got legitimately interested in her for the first time ever. Genuinely 100%. For the first time ever. And I was like, oh shit. I actually want to see her wrestle now. I want to see her get in the ring and wrestle. And she hit it out of the damn park last night.
Yeah. She was incredible. She did that dive off the post to the outside. Was their first big moment of the match where she took everybody out. Then she got that hot tag. She runs in there. She hits a lariat. She does a friggin' running knee. She does the fisherman release suplex again. She did like the like a soul butt move in the corner. She ripped her thing. She was doing the inverted worm.
Yeah, it was so cool.
It was like, holy crap, man! Like, what the hell? She was no. I would have never even dreamed that we would see her do that type of stuff in the ring, where it was like, that's legitimately like, that was good. Crazy. Scott saying, if this is going to continue, someone has to lead Otis, Tozawa, and Maxine. Dustin is saying, I wonder if Otis, Akira, and Maxine will keep using the Alpha Academy name or have a new faction name. And then Spencer is welcoming Dominic Mysterio for tuning in. We appreciate you very much for being a part of the show. I mean, big fans. I think I saw SRS say it, that one of the people that were watching the Fightful review last night was secretly hoping that Otis, Akira, and Maxine would join the Chase U. And that would be like their new thing. Like they would go to Chase U. I thought that was pretty. Yep, there it is. Yeah, Spencer just said it. I saw someone pitch the Alpha Academy becoming a part of Chase U. I think that would be fun. I think that would be fun if they did that. Yeah, I think at some point they need to get away from Chad Gable's old music. They need to not be the Alpha Academy. I think it's working for now because it works, but I think long term, I think people are still going to associate that with Gable. And I think you got to break that away.
Definitely long.
But now I think it
should be dropped.
Fine. Yeah. I think it's fine for now. So at the end of this match, though, unfortunately, I was really rooting for Alpha Academy, but I knew where we were heading. But Ivy Nile comes in. She hits a really good roundhouse kick on Maxine. And then she wins with her compassionate release submission that she has. Maxine taps out. But it's really what happened after the match. So, I mean, this match was really good, though. It was a lot of fun, that six-way or six mixed tag, whatever it was. Post-match, Gable grabs a mic. He demands applause for he says, the greatest fighting family in WWE. And then the crowd's giving him the "you suck" chants. He's like, yeah, whatever. He's saying last week was supposed to be one-on-one, but Uncle Howdy had to get the Freak Show involved. He's seen what it'll take to beat him, so he's calling him out. Next week, he said, and in true American fashion, he'll make sure that they put an end to all this crap because he says, pick whatever 4 people you want against us. We want a street fight. So the lights go down.
When he said pick any 4 people, I was just like, well,
I don't think Howdy's
going to
be,
right?
I don't think Howdy's going to be in the match. I think it's going to be the other 3 and Nikki Cross. They already announced it's an 8-person mixed tag.
It's 3 men and 1. Okay.
Yeah, I think Uncle Howdy is not going to be in the match. I think. I don't know, but I'm
fine with that. I don't think he needs to be a special attraction.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's going to be Nikki Cross's Sister Abigail, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be her first match, and it's going to be. They already announced it at the end of Raw. They said it was an 8-person mixed tag street fight next week. Which the fact that it's a street fight, there's going to be some wild shit that goes on during that match. There's going to be some wild shit.
Absolutely.
But I did want to talk about this because this was the first live promo that we saw from Uncle Howdy, Bo Dallas.
Yeah. This was very interesting.
Yeah, lights go down, music hits, Uncle Howdy shows up by himself, and he says 375 days ago, his sanity crumbled, and his path is now in the void. He said the silence is deafening, but he can still hear. His life is no longer his. So if this is the path Chad has chosen, who is he to deflect him from his undoing?
Really good.
He's gambling his very being, and they will collect the debt. And then after he says that, we see the rest of the Wyatts walk out behind him. They do their pose in the way with Nikki in front on the ground and all their posing. And that's how we get it. What'd you think of the first live in-arena promo for Howdy?
Excellent. It was excellent. It was literally like you could close your eyes and picture Bray doing.
You could hear. He looks like him too. He sounds, and I think he's probably doing it a little bit on purpose with the character, but he sounds so much like Bray, dude. It is, man. He sounds just like him. Just like you said. You can close your eyes and you could swear it's Bray. Sometimes when you hear him talk, it's wild. It's wild. I loved it. I loved it, Drew.
Yeah.
Yeah. We then had a returning Zelina Vega. She had a one-on-one match with Shayna Baszler. I actually thought there was a really sweet moment before this match, Drew, where somebody in the crowd had a sign that Zelina Vega actually ended up grabbing and showing the camera.
Yeah.
And it had her dad's name on it. I don't remember it off the top of my head. I don't want to pick her, but it had her dad's name on it, and it said he has the best seat in the house. 9/11/01, as her dad obviously was part of the 9/11. He lost his life on 9/11. And you could tell that she saw that sign and she immediately grabbed it, showed it to the camera. You could see how emotional she was on her face. But I thought it was a really sweet moment. I just thought that was a really nice moment. And then her and Baszler had a one-on-one. It was fine. What I liked about this match is Baszler won it. That's what I liked about this match. Not that I have anything against Zelina Vega, but I was like, they started the Pure Fusion Collective and they've lost everything they've been a part of since they freaking started the group.
Funny. That sounds like the debut of the Damage Control faction.
That's what I'm saying. So I was very happy to see Shayna Baszler get the victory, because I was like, are they just going to, what are they, just a faction that, no, we're not going to give it, like, the name, I think, does enough damage on its own. Because I think the name has done damage to the group. I think they are not taken as seriously as they should be because their name is so awful. And then, on top of that, they've lost every match they've been a part of since they became a group. So to see Baszler actually get a win and them get a win, I thought was refreshing. The match itself was, it was fine. Nothing to write home about, I thought. But there was some more stuff that happened after the match, Drew. The Pure Fusion Collective starts beating down Zelina Vega. We see Lyra Valkyria make her return. It's been a little bit since we've seen her. She comes down to try to help out, even the odds a little bit, but eventually those two girls are outnumbered, and the Pure Fusion Collective overwhelm them, and they run them off. Sonya Deville grabs a mic, Drew. She tells the crowd to sit down, shut up, and show her some respect. I was like, ooh. She says everyone in the crowd and at home are pathetic. And then she says there's not a man in the audience that could take them home, which we don't got to go down that rabbit hole, but that didn't make sense. And no woman that can take them, period. But step up and shoot your shot.
Well,
and then she
I can go down that rabbit hole.
I'm not gonna.
They're lesbians.
Not all. Well, Zoe Stark is not.
Well, Zoe Stark isn't. That's right.
But
yeah.
Like, well, yeah. I mean, Spencer, you're not really lying. It made perfect sense in some context. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But she said that line, and I was like, "What? What's that mean?" I don't. Because in my brain, I was like, "Well," I was like, "Don't we all know that?" What? I don't know. Whatever. But that was kind of the one thing that I was just kind of like, I didn't like. I understood the promo. Duh. Like I get it. Right. All the dudes will, all the guys want us. All the girls wish they could be us, or that type of. I get it. It's been said 1,000 times in wrestling before. It was just like, what? Kind of caught me off guard. I was like, wait a minute. But either way.
Oh, the reason why earlier when we mentioned Jade, Bianca, and Naomi, I said it seemed like Pure Fusion Collective was going in another way because of what happened here, Zelina and Lyra
Valkyria. Oh yeah, because we saw. Yeah, go ahead.
So next week they're going to be in Canada. They're going to be
Calgary, Alberta.
Calgary,
right? To be,
which is very, very, very popular in wrestling, as we know.
There's a certain famous wrestling family that hails from there.
Yes. Love Wrestling hails from there as well.
Well, Alberta, Edmonton.
Oh, that's Edmonton. That's right.
Same. I don't even know what they call it in Canada. Same province. I think they call it a province.
Province.
It's a
Yeah,
province.
that's
Yes.
right. So very, very. Oh, you could say, just like WWE did with Gunther. Technically,
Yeah.
Love Wrestling. It
Yeah.
it
I mean,
borders.
Yeah.
It borders Alberta.
Yeah. I think it's a couple hours away or so like that. So if Gunther's from Germany, then whatever. No, but what did you actually think of the promo though? Not so much the context of it, because some of it made no. But like do you think she showed some fire? She was angry. She was yelling.
She's not the best promo, but I think
she's the best of the three by far. Promo. Although Baszler, I think, is slightly underrated with how she can talk pretty well. But Zoe Stark, I feel like I like Zoe Stark a lot. She's as good as it gets in the ring, truly. But the promo game is definitely the thing, her biggest opportunity, I'll say, if I'm being friendly. I do think Sonya is the best talker of the three. So her being the mouthpiece of the three,
makes sense.
But yeah, we usually don't see that type of yelling. Like she's usually like a more calmer, like collected type of person, I feel like, when she cuts her promos, but she was angry, threw the mic down, pissed. But
so expect next week to be the return of one Natalya.
Yep. Sure thing. Well, yeah, because so they did have a backstage thing where Lyra and Zelina were talking, and they said they're there's three of them. There's only two of us. We need help. And she was like, we're in Calgary next week. And Lyra goes, yeah. So guess what? It's Natalya. It's going to be Natalya. If it ain't, I don't know what the hell's going on. Honestly, Calgary, Alberta, Canada. It's going to I would bet a lot of money that it's probably going to be Natalya, because what the hell else is it going to be?
Here's a question. Could it be Trish?
No, she's Toronto.
Okay.
Plus, Trish Stratus was also removed from the WWE roster page today as well.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. She was removed over the weekend.
Oh,
I saw that.
Because I thought that would play interest. That would be really interesting with what happened with Zoe Stark. So.
That's fair. That would be a good callback. However, I mean, I think with Calgary, Alberta, that's where that's the Hart family. That's where they're from, right? It's got to be Natalya. Yeah. That's like so I expect Natalya, because we haven't seen her. When was the last time we saw Natalya? On NXT, right? She wasn't even on the main roster last time we saw her, I think. Yeah, she went down to NXT for like a little.
Oh, yeah, she did. That's right.
Yeah.
So it's been a while since that match with Cora Jade.
Correct.
Right? Or with Cora Jade or Roxanne Perez?
No, it was Roxanne. I think.
Yeah.
That was when I was kind of just getting back into NXT, when she was hopping down there. But I expect it to be Lyra, Zelina, and Natalya against the Pure Fusion Collective. And I'm sorry, guys. I know it'll be in Calgary, hometown pop. I get it. The Pure Fusion Collective should win that match. Not saying they're gonna.
Don't disagree with you.
All right. Then we get CM. All right. So we should preface this. At the end of Bash at Berlin during the post show, CM Punk was interviewed. And CM Punk, very much the point of his interview was saying, now that I'm done with Drew McIntyre, I'm coming for gold. That was the reason why I came back to this company, was to make money, to win championships. Obviously, things have gotten in the way, but that's in the rearview mirror now. I'm coming for gold. I was paying attention to the main event. I saw what happened. I'm next. So that's what he said on Saturday. He comes out, starts off by doing stop it. Oh, I'm going to yell about it every week. Oh, now I get it. He's in a good mood. He just beat Drew McIntyre. He got his bracelet back. Whoop-de-fucking-do. I get it. He's happy as a pig in shit, Drew. Having a great time. Says he never gets sick of hearing the CM Punk chants. Says it's good to be on the other side of a very personable and ugly issue. And now that that's out of the way, it's time to get down to business. He said it when he first got here, Drew. He's here to make money. Oh no, I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make money.
Yes.
And he goes, he's got one person who he needs to talk to, and that is Gunther. He said, nothing can fix the chip on my shoulder but that belt. And it's time that CM Punk woke up as a champion. That was really it. The promo itself wasn't long or anything like that. It was basically him saying, hey, I'm done with Drew McIntyre. That's over and done with. Gunther, I want the belt. I'm coming for you. And he's cheering. They play his music. He said, he's going around high-fiving, kissing babies, because that's what fucking CM Punk does now. Kissing babies, high-fiving, hugging people, handing out bracelets. He's doing whatever corny-ass shit he's doing. He gets on the announce table. He's celebrating, and the way the camera angle was, he just disappears out of frame. And we see a dude in a black hoodie, clearly Drew McIntyre, and Drew McIntyre proceeds to beat the piss out of CM Punk. Gives him a claymore on top of the table. He's throwing him into the stairs. He's mounting punches. He's beating him down on the announce desk, slamming the back of his head into the desk. Wade Barrett gets up from the table and pushes. We saw this on the pre-show when Drew lost his mind a couple months ago, that Wade Barrett was like, hey, dude, relax. So Wade Barrett gets up from the table, and at this point, Tessitore's by himself at the table commentating for the first time. He's got no help. He's there by himself. I thought he did great. He's mentioning they go way back. Wade Barrett is like a mentor to Drew and all this stuff, and Wade Barrett is holding him. He's like, dude, I get it, but you're going to lose your job. This is going to be bad. Relax. Drew does not relax.
No, he did not.
Dude, that claymore that he gave Punk on the table, that shit looked like it really kicked him right in the head. I was like, that looked gnarly.
Feud.
Yeah, gives him a claymore, throws him in the ring. At this point, Pierce is out there. Security's getting out there. The refs, they're all trying to break it up. They're trying to get Drew out of the ring. And Drew walks over. And this whole time, I'm like, don't look at the bracelet. Don't look at the bracelet. Just keep walking. Don't look at the bracelet. And then Drew walks over there. He grabs Punk's arm, and he looks right at Pierce, and he goes, I'm leaving with this bracelet. And I just went, God damn it. I was like, no. Why? Do not. But he grabs the bracelet, Drew, and he rips that thing in half, and I screamed. I was so excited.
It's over.
He rips it in half. Tessitore losing his mind. I ripped the bracelet. He's losing it. And then he takes the pieces of the bracelet and he shoves them in CM Punk's mouth, and he gives him one last claymore. Punk is bleeding from the mouth. And they get Drew out of there. Then they go to commercial. They come back. We see CM Punk on a stretcher, walking up the ramp. Kept him out there for 10 minutes during the commercial. Jesus Christ. Get him into a hospital. What are you doing? We see him walking up the ramp. They show the clips of what just happened. Then they come back, and he's in the back now, heading towards the ambulance. And we see Drew McIntyre come out of nowhere and start attacking CM Punk again. He rips the neck brace off, just beating the crap out of Punk. Punk's a bloody mess. Oh, my God. It was so good. It was so good, Drew. I loved it. This, to me, last night, like we talked about at the beginning, or when we were talking about the strap match, this, for me personally, right, this rocket. All right, I'm ready. I'm back in on it. Let's go.
Yeah.
Because, I'm in. The bracelet's gone. Hopefully. We don't care about that anymore. Now it's just about you two fucking hate each other and you want to kill each other. And the rumor is Hell in a Cell. Fine. But the match should just
Definitely
be about killing each other.
For sure.
100%. 100%.
Kind of wish that we, did that maybe at Bash, but, whatever. Because I really didn't give a shit about that strap match.
Sure.
But okay. So something that we didn't mention from Bash in Berlin, which it's gross. But
I know what you're gonna say. Where the bracelet was.
so during the match, getting towards the end when the
Don't even say
bracelet
that.
comes into play.
Dustin, don't even throw that into the universe. All right? Don't. Do not.
You know what? Going off topic for a second.
Are you talking about the girl on Twitter?
Last night, yeah,
Yeah.
the one who actually made that bracelet.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean, we shat on the bracelet and
look,
deservedly so.
Oh, of course.
Because the story never should have been about the bracelet itself. It should have been about the meaning of the bracelet.
Yes.
But like the feud happened the way that it happened, and things happened the way that they happened. But so Brash in Berlin, Drew reaches into
his crotch,
his gear.
Yeah.
To his
He did it at SummerSlam too. It happened at SummerSlam too.
Did it? I didn't remember that.
Yeah. He took it out of his crotch. So he's keeping it. And then he sniffs it or kissed it, didn't he?
Kissed it. Yeah.
Oh.
But then Punk got it. And Punk kissed it too.
Hey, man. It's 2024, man. Whatever. Who we judging?
And listen, you don't have to tell me that. So I see last night he rips the bracelet off then he puts the pieces of the bracelet inside Punk's mouth.
Yeah.
So now I'm thinking to myself, okay, I need Drew McIntyre, middle of the ring next week. Got to grab a microphone, be like, Punk, you know what that bracelet was in Bash in Berlin, don't you? That bracelet was right in my crotch. You kissed it, and then last night I broke it in half and I put those pieces inside your mouth. Claymored you. So, you know what that means? That means you choked on these nuts.
Fair enough. Fair enough, guys. Goddamn. What a show. We then had our first of two triple threat first round.
That got a WWE. Huge pop on the round table last night.
Look, you got to pop out of me. You got to pop out of me. Oh, we got our buddy Tanner popping in the chat from the Kicking Out podcast. Go follow
Kicking Out podcast champion.
He is.
Tanner Lee.
He is still. He retained. That's fair. He won this one fair and square. I'll give him this one.
For now.
But for now, exactly. For now. One day that belt will be mine. But go check him out. Go check out the Kicking Out podcast, boys. They're good people. They're good people. But we have our first of two triple threat WWE Intercontinental Championship #1 contenders matches. This one was Dominic Mysterio versus Dragon Lee versus Ilya Dragunov.
Nothing about this match Dominic Mysterio getting run off by Damian Priest matters.
Well, I was going to say, so this match is kind of, doing its thing, triple threat, whatever. Damian Priest comes out.
The Carlito comes out first.
Carlito comes out first to get involved, and I thought Tessitore again was really good here, just getting pissed off. What is this need? I just thought he was good. He comes out. Damian Priest comes out immediately. He takes out Carlito, and then he just runs. Dominic does like, fuck this match. I'm out. So yeah, I don't even care. And Dominic's like, done. He's out. He's running. Priest runs him off. And then Dragunov and Dragon Lee had like 5 to 8 minutes of they fucking humped.
Oh boy.
I need that one-on-one next week. Just give it to me on Raw. No, they're in the 4-way, but I just need this one-on-one at some, like they were the little, it was like 5, 6, 7, 8, like in that, it was so good. These two guys were so good in their little one-on-one that they, man.
I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, dude,
I want to watch, I want to watch an Iron Man match between two of these guys.
Damn right. It was really good. But Ilya Dragunov ends up getting the victory with the torpedo. What do they call it? Torpedo Moscow, right? The torpedo Moscow kind of like jumping headbutt thing that he does. And he ends up pinning Dragon Lee. So at this point, Ilya is the third guy joining Jey Uso and Pete Dunne next week in the 4-way to determine the number one contender. Really, really good stuff. That whole end with those guys one-on-one, fantastic. Might have been the best in-ring of the whole night. Like that 5 minutes was just
I don't disagree.
Spectacular. So earlier in the day, Adam Pearce on WWE's social media accounts, and they announced it on this Raw right at this moment. He announced that Bronson Reed had COVID, unfortunately. And so Bronson Reed had to be removed from the triple threat because he was supposed to be a part of the second triple threat that was happening later on in the show. He had to be removed. And earlier in the day, Pearce he said, I'm looking for the replacement. He's out back getting interviewed, talking about Bronson Reed. They're asking him about the replacement. And he's like, yeah, I'm still looking. And then we see a very taped up, a very beaten down from the tsunami on top of the car from last week. Braun Strowman. And Braun Strowman walks up and Pearce is like, what the hell? You're not even supposed to be here. What are you doing? You should be resting. And Braun says, look, I know you're looking for a third person. I talked to the doctors, and the doctors said that as long as I feel like I can go, it's up to me. And he tells Pearce, I'm ready to go. And so Pearce goes, all right, man, I'm putting you in. Now, Drew, I think we talked about it last week. So I think, we have other matches before we get there. So yeah, I'll wait. But so then we find out that Braun is now replacing Bronson Reed. So it's going to be Sheamus, Kaiser, and Braun Strowman in the second triple threat that we get to in a little bit. We then had another number one contenders match, but this one was for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. We kind of already talked about it. It was Damage Control, Io Sky and Kairi Sane versus the Unholy Union, Alba Fire and Nyla Dawn. The Unholy Union ends up winning, and they are once again number one contenders, so they'll be going for their belt. However, I do want to say Kairi Sane almost died.
Oh, my God. God.
So Bianca Belair okay. Kairi Sane is at the top rope, jumping to the outside. So Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair are at ringside because they're the champions. They're watching to see who's their number one contender. Unholy Union is near the announce table. Kairi Sane is jumping off the rope to what it looks like do a splash of some sort onto Unholy Union, but Isla Dawn pulls. The spot was supposed to be she's pulling Bianca Belair to take the splash. That was the spot. Kairi Sane overshoots her jump to the point where it looks like she's just going to land on the table, like face first on the table. Bianca does all that she can. And she if you watch the replay, Bianca, she barely grabs her, but she tries so hard to be like, oh, like Bianca knows immediately, like, oh shit. And Bianca tries and she grabs her a little bit, and this could have been so much worse. Because even at this point, Kairi Sane went like eye first into the table, and she was bleeding after. She got back in the ring, and it looked like she was okay. Like she was coherent. It didn't look like she was like, woozy or anything like that, but she was clearly bleeding from her eye.
Oh my God. It looked so
yikes. Awful. That was scary. Holy shit. That was brutal.
I just remember putting in the doc for the Fightful post show last night. I just remember putting her eye because it was gnarly. Like it was the way that it didn't even look like she had an eye when she was in the ring. Like it was so covered in blood and
yeah, it was bad, dude.
It looked like she didn't even have an eye. It was hard to look at, honestly. I didn't know how the hell because like you could see like who she was interacting with in the ring and the referee. Like they're doing that back and forth, but you could kind of like see it on everybody's face that they're like, "Holy shit, are you okay?"
Yeah. Yeah. It was brutal. And they did a little face off at the end, kind of foreshadowing maybe a future match down the line, Damage Control, Jade and Bianca. So, but Unholy Union, #1 contender. So we're going to be getting that rematch soon. But that was a scary moment. That was a scary moment. And then this was the thing that I mentioned about Kofi. So they showed backstage, and Kofi Kingston is talking to Adam Pearce about how Judgment Day haven't defended their titles in 2 months. So he's mentioning it to Pearce. Like, hey, dude, they haven't defended their tag titles in a few months. Like, it's been a while since me and Woods. Like, he's trying to pitch for a tag title match with him and Woods. And then we see Gunther come into frame. And Adam Pearce goes, how's it going, champ? And Gunther just looks at Kofi, and they have kind of like a little mini stare, like not in face to face, but across there. They kind of look at each other, and Gunther kind of does like that smirk, like, yeah, okay, and walks off, which to me is like that match is going to happen at some point. We're going to get a Kofi Kingston Gunther, which I am okay with, because Kofi really hasn't been involved in a world title picture since he had that run, and I am not against him getting that type of opportunity again at all.
Oh, yeah. Especially with a guy like Gunther.
They'll have a great match, Drew.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. All right. We get back from commercial. Earlier in the night, Damian Priest said that he didn't have a tag partner for his match with the Judgment Day at the end of the night, Finn Balor and JD. And Rhea Ripley said it with a smile on her face. She was like, I got somebody in mind that I can go ask. So then we see Damian Priest go, hey, what did he say? Did he say yes? And Rhea starts smiling, and she goes, no. And he goes, well, what'd she say?
I love this.
And she goes, what'd she say? What'd he say? And Rhea, with the smile on her face, just looks at Priest, and she goes, he said, yeet. And so we know that it's Jey Uso who's going to be teaming up with Damian Priest later on in the night.
An absolutely stellar backstage moment with Braun Breaker.
Oh, we sure did. Sure did, bro.
Boy, I can't wait to talk about that.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that in a little bit. So at this point, Gunther makes his way to the ring. He talks about how Bash in Berlin had the highest gate of any arena show in WWE history. And then he said, and now you degenerates have the honor of looking at the man responsible for it. He says there's more to celebrate since he beat one of the greatest legends in the business has ever seen. And he said a lot of personal things. And even though he was right, he only said those things to provoke him into being the greatest Randy Orton of all time for when he faced him on Saturday. And then Gunther says, now I can stand here and say I've beaten that version of Randy Orton. That big weekend was just another chapter in my legacy of being the greatest world champion in history. And then whose music hits, Drew? The returning Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn comes out. He says, it's funny that you're talking about legacy, because he spent the last couple of weeks, not there, thinking about his IC title reign. And everybody talks about it as this great workhorse title. He mentions the Macho Man Randy Savage. He mentions Stone Cold, Triple H, The Rock, Michaels. He's mentioning all the A-listers who held that belt. And he says all those guys won the IC belt as a stepping stone to the world title. He said, that's what you've done, Gunther. And he said, and now that's what I'm doing. He says, I want the World Heavyweight Championship. Gunther tells him he's right. But where he and those men he listed stepped up after losing the IC championship, Zayn stepped down, which I thought was really good. He says that he thinks the fans really like him because when he gets knocked down, he picks himself back up and returns to the ring. And now he's standing in front of him, challenging him. Gunther's talking now for the title. Yeah, I can hear the passion in your voice, he says. See the fire in your eyes. So if you really want the title more than anything, my answer is no. And he walks out. And it looks like that's going to be the end of the segment, Drew. But then Sami grabs the mic. He said, I've watched your entire career, Gunther. You've never backed down from a fight. He goes, so why are you backing down from this one? He says, for as great as you've been, I think the reason you're backing down is because I'm the only guy that's ever beaten you since you've been here. Which at WrestleMania, obviously, Sammy beat him for the IC belt. And then he said, you can run as long as you like, but make no mistake, I'm coming for that belt. And that's how the segment ends. So, Drew, it looks like we are getting a rematch of Sami Zayn, Gunther, but this time, instead of the IC title, it'll be for the World Heavyweight title. I think this is a perfect opponent for Gunther.
Yeah, I agree. And it's interesting, too, because last night Sean was talking about how it was, he made sure to put a note to talk about how it was strange that Sami Zayn was just getting a title shot after losing and being gone for a month and a half or 2 months, however long it's been. And while you were talking, I was reminded that that's technically how Gunther got the World Heavyweight title, because he lost at WrestleMania to Sami.
I mean, he won the King of the Ring, which
he won the King of the Ring. That's true. I forgot about the King.
And then that led him to the title match. But I agree with, I think the King of the, Sammy didn't have that, right? Sammy just lost, and then it's like, oh, all right, I beat you before, so I'm coming for it,
Was he also no, that doesn't matter. But so I forgot about the King of the Ring. So okay, never mind.
Sorry, didn't mean to do that to you.
Yeah, because I forgot that he got the title shot because of the King of the Ring.
Yeah,
not because he just came back and called a shot.
But that happens a lot in WWE, though. There are a lot of people in WWE, even still under Triple H. You lose, and then it's like, oh, you're going for another belt? Last time I saw you, you literally lost. But okay. It does happen a little bit too much.
Losing a title shouldn't be what gets you promoted to the next title.
No. My thing is, when you're, but what they talked about in this promo, when you're the IC champ, yes, sometimes that is a stepping stone to get to the main event, but it's not like you lose the IC belt and then the next match you're in is for the world title. You lose the IC belt and then you start going against the other main eventers and you work your way up to it. But this one, I'm okay. I'm not saying that to discredit. I'm okay with this because the story makes sense, because on the main roster, literally Sammy is the only guy that's pinned Gunther. So it does make some sort of sense. And I'm hoping Sammy has a couple matches before it happens, get some wins to kind of get momentum towards it. But I think for an opponent where Gunther is probably retaining again, I think it's a good opponent. I think it's a good opponent because we all know where Sammy's going, dude. He's going with Jay to go after the bloodline and the tag titles and be in the blood. That's where we're going here. So eventually we got to get there. So if you want for October for him to, do this, fine. I think it fits.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was going to ask you this question. So the last time we saw Sami Zayn, he was in a segment, before the Braun Breaker match.
Yeah.
He was in a segment with Jey Uso where they said they were going after the tag title.
They still are owed a tag title match.
I don't know if that's happening anymore.
Am I not? I think it would make sense for them to go challenge the bloodline.
So
not the Raw people.
My thought on it that I thought about last night was, Triple H said, oh, we really just had a thing with both tag titles being involved in a program. Probably it's not a good idea to do that again. Especially after we just made a big deal out of creating these new titles and separating them.
Yeah.
To then have the Raw Tag Team Champions and the SmackDown Tag Team Champions fighting each other again. Probably not a good idea.
No.
And if that's what happened, good on him for that.
Yeah.
Because that would definitely have been like, oh, well, here we go again. One team is going to be holding both titles again. So I think that made all the sense in the world if this is what happened, and Triple H was like, "Oh yeah, let's not do this way." I think that was a brilliant thing to do because we do not need the tag team titles on both sides in feuds again. Potentially one winning the titles again and then being double champions. We don't need that again. We just went through that for 2 years with the Usos and Judgment Day. So
Yeah.
And KO and Sammy. But yeah, we don't need that again. So if that was the move there, if they were like, okay, you know what, let's not have them go after those titles so that this way they can just be free to go to SmackDown and be on SmackDown. Because SmackDown on USA is
this week is the last week. Yeah, this week is the last week of SmackDown on Fox in the US.
So Jay is going to fight for. I mean,
next week is the season premiere of Raw, by the way, as well.
Right, that's right. Next week is the season premiere of Raw, even though Raw's on 52 weeks a year. And
it's WWE week because it's the first time in 3 years, 4 years, 5 years that all 3 shows are going to be on USA next week. Because SmackDown, Raw, NXT, and SmackDown are all on USA next week for 3 weeks before NXT makes the move to CW. So it's WWE week.
This is actually the first time ever.
Is it ever? I thought they said in
NXT was not. I'm sorry, not NXT. SmackDown was not on USA when NXT went to USA Network.
That's fair.
They were on Fox already. So that's really interesting.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, WWE week next week. We got 3 separate shows all on USA for 3 straight weeks before NXT makes the move to the C-Dub.
Oh, for one. 3 straight shows.
No, because NXT is staying on USA until October 13th. So they said that on the commercial last night, they said for 3 straight weeks.
That's SmackDown's last show.
Oh, yeah.
Fox.
Yeah. And then next
week. So
there'll
be.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, you're right. I'm sorry. I was getting
next week. I said next week starts 3 straight weeks where all 3 shows. And that's how they were promoting it on the commercial.
Yeah, I got it mixed up. My apologies.
All right. So now we get to the backstage segment that you said you were excited to talk
about. Oh, my God.
So Jey Uso is backstage. First of all, can I just do this just for a second? Look at this guy. Can we talk about that for a second? I'm trying to do a show, and I got to deal with this guy. You see this? Anyway, Jey Uso is backstage. He's getting interviewed, and immediately Braun Breaker steps into frame.
But the way that he stepped into frame was, I loved it so much. It was so good.
Yeah.
It's like Jay's in his yeeting.
Yeah.
And then one of those sheets, Braun just slides right in, and he's like,
yeah. And he says, "Hey, remember what I told you? How no member of your family has ever beaten a member of my family?" He goes, "You're not going to be the guy that does it either." He says, "Keep chasing after mommy and keep yeeting all you want, because you're going to get one chance to walk away, drop out of this tournament, and you can go keep chasing Dominic Mysterio's sloppy seconds." And that was the line.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that was the line. And then, yep. And he goes, "Because if you come after me and my title, you're going to lose." Jey Uso kind of laughs it off, thanks him for the advice, calls him a rookie. He goes, "Thanks for the advice, rookie." And then he says he's going to get mommy, but now Breaker has his attention, and he's winning that tournament, the title, and he's going to beat his ass to do it too. Yeet. And then he leaves, and Breaker is fuming. Good shit. Makes me think that Jay is going to win next week now.
I hope so.
I went in there thinking it was going to be Ilya, but now I'm thinking, well, I mean, you got to pay that off somehow. That was good.
So
that was good.
Another person. So I mentioned Bronson Reed, mentioned Maxine Dupree.
Braun Breaker, baby.
People who I did not care about at all, and then Triple H worked his magic, and now I care about them. Braun Breaker is another one. Did not give a shit about that guy. and now he is legitimately somebody I look forward to seeing on TV.
100%. 100%. All right. We then have our second triple threat match to determine the last of the 4 participants for the Fatal 4-Way next Monday. It was Braun Strowman
Oh shit!
versus.
NXT starting.
I know, starting soon. I know. Wait, we're almost done. We're almost done. Versus Ludwig Kaiser versus Sheamus. Drew, I'm going to be honest with you. We talked about it last week. I thought what they were going to do was Bronson Reed was going to win this match. And then I thought during the 4-way next week, Braun Strowman was going to return and remove Bronson Reed from the match. And I think that they just said, hey, we're just going to flip it. Because Bronson's got COVID. He can't be here. Braun, you're all right. We're just going to fucking flip it. So you're going to get in this match. You're going to win this match. And then hopefully, as long as he passes the COVID test by next Monday, Bronson's going to show back up and take your ass. I think the same thing is happening. They just flipped it because Bronson Reed, unfortunately, tested positive.
The smart thing to do.
Yeah, because Braun Strowman ends up winning this match between Ludwig, Sheamus, and him. I thought this match was fine. I thought it was the lesser of the 2 triple threats. They obviously were playing off of Strowman's injury. He was like out of the match for a good chunk of it, and Sheamus and Kaiser took
the bigger part of this match was the Pete Dunne involvement.
Correct. So towards the end, towards the end, Pete Dunne shows up. It looks like Sheamus is about to hit the bro kick and win. Pete Dunne shows up and he hits Sheamus over the back with the shillelagh. And that kind of takes Sheamus out of it. And then that leads to Braun getting in the ring. He hits a stinger. He hits a splash. Looks like a stinger splash, but he hits a splash on Kaiser. And then he does his running power slam. And Braun Strowman gets the 1, 2, 3. And Braun Strowman is the final participant. So next week, the Fatal 4-Way is Jey Uso, Pete Dunne, Ilya Dragunov, and Braun Strowman to determine the number 1 contender for Braun Breaker in the IC title.
It was a good match. I enjoyed Kaiser and Sheamus.
100%.
Dragon Lee and Dragunov were just friggin' phenomenal and like the highlight of the show when it comes to wrestling. So it was.
We got Dustin saying there's got to be a big gimmick match with Bronson and Strowman at Bad Blood. Maybe. Or they could save it for the Raw. I think you could main event a Raw with those 2 if you really wanted to. Like if you stuck to the 5-match card, you could. Ambulance match would make sense. You could do a lot of things. Parking lot brawl, maybe. You could do a whole parking lot brawl because of what happened outside. You could.
That's true.
Do a lot of things. Yeah. And then it is time. Pete Dunne is interviewed in the Pete Dunne is interviewed in the back. He says that he was just sending Sheamus a message, or he's sending Sheamus a message from an old friend, and he's off to NXT, which is happening right now. We'll be out of here in 5 minutes or so. So you can hold on. But he's fighting Trick Williams tonight, Pete Dunne, on NXT. And then as he's walking away.
Oh, Jackie.
What are you doing? What are you doing, Jackie? What are you doing? You're better than this. Rookie mistake. And she's not even a rookie. Jackie goes, should I tell Sheamus the message was from Butch? The hell, Jackie. If you've been watching the show, he hasn't been Butch for a month and a half. What are we doing? So then Pete Dunne turns around. He looks like he's having a time. And he says, please don't call me the B word. And that was that. And then we had our main event, Drew. Well, first of all, what'd you think of that? Them referencing Butch. Obviously, like.
They're doing it for a reason.
Yeah. 100%.
They're probably, like. Maybe they want Butch chant, which they kind of have. I think some crowds have chanted Butch at him. But it seems like they want to ramp that up. So, and him, I mean, talk about needing a big gimmick match. Him and Sheamus, I think, deserve a big gimmick match.
Well, I like it because it's clear to me that because they're bringing back Bad Blood, right? And the friggin' name of the pay-per-view is Bad Blood. And it feels like all the matches that we're going to have at Bad Blood are like long-term feuds that we've been seeing for a while that are literally going to be like, it feels like the end of all. Rhea and Liv.
minus
Priest and
minus
Finn.
the match for the if they don't do this on Bad Blood, the Cody and potentially Solo Sikoa again.
Yeah, I heard that. Maybe. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens when we get to Friday. We then had our main event, Drew. It was Damian Priest and main event Jey Uso. See what I did there? Versus the Judgment Day, which was Finn Balor and J.D. McDonough. Solid, fun tag team match to end the show. I actually liked the pairing of Priest and Uso. I was like, I'm kind of into them as a team. I don't want them to be a team, but I was kind of into it.
So right before this, there was that promo between the two of them in the locker room.
When Priest went up to him and was like,
where Priest wanted to talk to him because they had history together, and then Jay was like, listen, I get it. We're very similar, however.
Yeah, I was you.
This was, I was you. I lost friends. I lost family. So we're in the same boat, essentially. And that was a really good promo. I really liked that a lot.
See, my thing, and I was saying it, those type of promos and those type of logical human being to human being, it was the same thing I was saying about why can't Xavier Woods just pull Kofi aside and be like, hey, man, I don't like what's going on here. This doesn't make me feel good. Like logical friend. I mean, obviously that's more of a relationship. They've been brothers for 10, you know what I mean? But like these logical real life type of promos, that would not have happened a year ago. Like they would not have done that. They would not have done a little promo with Jey Uso being like, hey man, you got nothing to explain. Like, I know what it's like, dude. I was you.
Because it would have turned into a can they coexist?
Exactly. Like I appreciate these little things like this so much because that is a normal conversation that happens in all of it's just a normal, regular person to person conversation. And I just appreciate stuff like that so much because it makes it feel like, yeah, all right, these are real people. We know they're characters. We know they're larger than, but they're real people. And that's a real conversation with he's trying to be a good guy. Hey, look, we did this. We're better now. We're better people. We grew. Dude, I literally did the same shit you did a year and a half ago. And I got here and everybody hated me too. I get it. I've been you, man. It's all good. You don't got to explain anything to me. It's so simple. But that stuff like that matters. What did you think of the main event? I'll tell you what. Again, I thought it was I like the tease at the beginning where it looked like Finn and Damian were going to start right away. And then Finn did I'm going to run out and tag JD and try to avoid you as much as I can until Priest actually got him a little bit.
Yeah, I like that too.
I like that whole thing.
The match itself was really good. I did also like Jey Uso and Damian Priest.
I thought they were a good little pair
as a team.
Yeah.
Liv tries to get involved. Then Rhea comes down and she's hobbling a little bit, but she's got the crutch, so you know what's going to happen. And and Babyface got the win. Also, wasn't expecting that, but so I'm looking forward to seeing we're gonna have definitely you tied it in nicely. I didn't think of course a pay-per-view named Bad Blood means all of the Bad Blood feuds are going to be predominantly featured on this show. You got Punk and Drew, you got Rhea and Liv, you'll have what was the one we just talked about?
Wait, what? Damian? Yeah, you're gonna have Drew and Punk, Liv and Rhea, Priest and Finn potentially.
Maybe. Oh yeah, that's
Sheamus
right.
and Pete Dunne potentially. Braun and Bronson. Like all the big. Like it feels like we're gonna get like the end of all these long-term feuds at Bad Blood. Drew and Punk, Liv and Rhea, Priest and Finn. Sheamus and Pete Dunne's been building up for the last month or so.
Yeah, I don't think that would be at the pay-per-view.
No. But like we're starting to see like Bad Blood is actually going to be like, oh yeah, it's Bad Blood. Like this is where these big feuds are going to have their big crescendos.
If with the Odyssey Jones thing, if they didn't have, that incident happen. I would have maybe did whatever they were planning on doing. Probably was going to happen at Bad Blood. Maybe they would have had one final match with the Final Testament, and then Xavier turns, or Kofi and Odyssey turn, or whatever was going to happen. Probably was going to end up happening there.
100%.
So. But now we don't have to worry about that anymore.
No. And then if you saw on any of the WWE social media accounts or anybody else's social media account after the show went off the air, Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest and Jey Uso were all yeeting in the ring together. It was a good time. It looked like it was a good time. But that was the end of Raw. That was the big weekend for WWE. Dustin just said SmackDown is in Edmonton this Friday. So they're in Edmonton this Friday, and then they go to Alberta. Then they go to Calgary on Monday. And Spencer is saying trillion beers, bro. A trillion beers. But Dustin says that so far as we're getting the Giovanni Vinci arrival, there's a big 8-man tag.
Oh, that's right.
And then it's going to be the Bloodline versus the Street Profits and DIY. And it is going head-to-head with Collision this week because on Saturday night, we have All Out, which you will find Drew and I previewing this Thursday morning, back at our normal time, 10 a.m. We'll be talking about what happens tomorrow night on Dynamite, and we will be previewing All Out from this Saturday. I know we went a little bit long, but we appreciate everyone hopping in and joining us for this little one-time little schedule change that we had today. Appreciate all the support. You guys have been really killing it when it comes to Firmly. Like the support and the viewership that we're getting here is like really, really good. And it kind of is, I think it took me and Drew by surprise here a little bit, but
it did actually.
Yeah, but we appreciate you guys. Thank you for tuning in to this special time tonight. We'll be back at our normal time on Thursday. You know where you can follow Drew at the Drew Nicholas on all social media things. You can follow me at JPJ Loves Gaming on all social media platforms. You can see us too on Thursday morning at 10 a.m. You know the rest. Between Two Beards Thursday night, round table for this guy, Fightful chats, banning people. You know it all. But we're going to get out of here so we and all of us can go enjoy some NXT or at least get the rest of our Tuesday night in order. Appreciate all of you. And until next time, my friends, you know the drill. Peace out.